everyone, welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're investigating the modern workday, and honestly, it's basically a cognitive crime scene. We're going to rapidly unpack exactly how your attention is being stolen, who's taking it, and most importantly, how you can lock it down. So tell me if this sounds familiar. You finally collapse on the couch after a grueling 8-hour day, you're completely exhausted, but when you look back at your to-do list, you realize you accomplished absolutely nothing of real value. Yeah, we've all been there. You were super busy, sure, but you had zero actual productivity. Well, there's a highly specific reason for that exhaustion. 61%. I mean, wow. That is how much of the average knowledge worker's day is just entirely eaten up by shallow tasks. We're talking emails, constant coordination, status updates, just aimlessly scrolling task lists. Almost 2/3 of your day is completely gone before you even attempt to do the heavy lifting. And guys, it gets worse. According to researcher Gloria Mark, the median human attention span on a single screen has plummeted to a terrifying 47 seconds. Less than a minute. Half of all screen interactions are even shorter than that. So you're not just distracted. You're being systematically fractured every single minute of your working life. All right, let's dive into the roadmap for fixing this. Today we're looking at 1, the deep work deficit, 2, deep versus shallow work, 3, the science of distraction, 4, science-backed time blocking, and finally, 5, protecting your focus. Starting off with Section 1, the deep work deficit, and the reality of modern work. Here's the thing. We aren't just tired or unmotivated. We are operating at a massive, measurable deficit right now. The data shows workers are currently suffering a 31.3% deep work deficit. Basically, you're only getting about 2/3 of the focus time you actually need to just stay on track. In fact, over 16% of people get absolutely zero deep work sessions in a normal week. None. So it's no wonder almost 80% of workers report weekly stress from having too many tasks and just not enough time. Moving on to Section 2, deep versus shallow work, identifying the suspects. So, according to computer science professor Cal Newport, everything you do basically falls into one of two buckets. First, you've got deep work. This is distraction-free concentration on cognitively demanding tasks, the stuff that pushes your limits and creates new value. It's the work that actually compounds your expertise over time. Then you've got shallow work. These are the logistical, easily replicated tasks you do while partially distracted. Like checking email or responding on Slack. Now, shallow work is necessary to keep the lights on, but it is incredibly greedy. If you let it, it will expand to fill every single gap in your day. Let's ground this in reality. Say you're a software engineer. Your deep work is implementing a complex algorithm, right? But your shallow work is just updating fields in a Jira ticket. Or if you're a marketer, your deep work is developing a massive campaign strategy, while the shallow work is just scheduling social media posts. The test here is super simple. Could a brand new college grad be trained to do this quickly? If yes, it's shallow. The deep tasks, those demand your specific, hard-earned expertise. Which brings us to Section 3, the science of distraction. Let's look at the forensics of focus. Listen, this isn't just about bad habits. We're talking hard cognitive science and what's actually happening inside your head when you lose focus. Researcher Sophie Leroy identified a crazy phenomenon she calls attention residue. Basically, every single time you jump from a complex project to quickly answer a Slack message, traces of your focus stay tangled up in that previous task. Your brain doesn't just clear its cache instantly. Part of your attention remains stuck, and that actively degrades your performance on whatever you're trying to do next. And the tax you pay for that little context switch, it's devastating. After an interruption, it takes an average of, get this, 23 minutes and 15 seconds just to return to your original level of focus. Think about that for a second. A 30-second distraction functionally robs you of nearly half an hour of deep cognitive processing. It's wild. But hey, there is a biological hack here, and it comes from Peter Gollwitzer's research on implementation intentions. He found that unfinished tasks constantly nag at your working memory. That's the well-known Zeigarnik effect. But the exact moment you make a highly specific plan for when and where you'll handle those tasks, that nagging biologically stops. You don't even have to finish the task to find peace. You literally just have to schedule it. Okay, Section 4, science-backed time blocking. This is the ultimate blueprint. Now that we've done the forensics on the problem, let's pivot to our ultimate weapon, energy-aware scheduling. Generic time blocking completely fails because it treats all hours as equal, and they just aren't. So first, audit your tasks by how hard they are. Second, track your energy to find your biological circadian peak window, which is usually a 2 to 4 hour stretch. Third, you must ruthlessly match your most demanding tasks exclusively to that peak energy block. And fourth, always set 10 to 15-minute buffers between blocks so that attention residue we talked about can actually clear out. The data completely backs this up. Attempting deep, analytical work during your circadian trough, the absolute wrong time of day for your body, that results in up to a 30% drop in cognitive performance. Forcing your hardest work at 8 a.m. when you're naturally an evening person is just a recipe for frustration. So matching task difficulty to your biological energy, it's not a luxury. It is absolutely vital to the whole system. And please, do not think you need to immediately lock yourself away for half the day right off the bat. Deep work is exactly like a muscle. If you've never done this before, you start at week 1 with just 25 minutes. It might take you 16 whole weeks to build up to a single, exhausting 4-hour block of pure focus. Look, you wouldn't bench press 200 pounds on day 1, right? So you definitely shouldn't expect your brain to do the equivalent either. Finally, Section 5, protecting your focus, defending your reclaimed time. To actually defend that time, we first have to neutralize the ultimate enemy. A University of Texas study revealed a pretty shocking truth. Just the mere physical presence of a smartphone reduces your cognitive capacity by about 10%. Putting it on silent or face down on the desk, that's not enough. To truly engage in deep work, that phone has to be physically located in an entirely different room. Next up, you have to build a defensible environment. Dedicate a specific physical chair or desk just for deep work. Listen to the exact same ambient music playlist every single time to create this sort of Pavlovian focus trigger in your brain. And this is crucial. Set a visible Slack status with a specific return time. Something like heads down until 11 a.m. An invisible block on a calendar is just going to get booked over. But a predictable, visible block with a set return time, your colleagues will actually respect that. Finally, use system-level tools to block all notifications so you're not just relying on sheer willpower. Seriously, you've got to stop blaming yourself for getting distracted in an environment that is expertly engineered to distract you. As the core philosophy of this explainer reminds us, the secret wasn't willpower, it was system design. I restructured my environment, my schedule, and my habits to make deep work the default rather than the exception. You have to change the system. So I'll leave you with this. By understanding the deep work deficit, clearing out that attention residue, matching your tasks to your energy, and blocking out the noise, you are going to get your time back. The only question left is, when you finally reclaim those lost hours, what remarkable things are you going to build with your focused mind? Get out there and put these science-backed strategies to work today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy building.